Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about the social mobility. The social position, status, and economic conditions of people change from time to time, and the social status and economic standard of a person changes due to hard work or attaining education. Changes which are actually observed in the social status, class, economic condition, and standard of life of a person are spoken of as social mobility. So, social mobility is the movement from one status or social class to another. It's about changing the social class. So, social mobility can take different forms, and people can experience different types of mobility in different stages of their lives. Social mobility can be categorized into two types. We have horizontal social mobility and vertical social mobility. Under the vertical social mobility, we have the upward mobility and the downward mobility. So let us now define what is horizontal social mobility. Horizontal social mobility involves a change in position, especially in occupation, but no change in social class. So in this type of mobility, there is no change in the social status of the individual, but there is a change in his affiliations. If I'm going to give you an example for this, is for example, a principal from a secondary school joins at the same post in another secondary school. So in that example, the status and the role of the person working as a principal remains the same, but there is a change in the place of work, which brings about change in his affiliations as well. Another example for that is it would be a person who moves from a managerial position or any position in one company to a similar position in another company. Next one, we have the vertical social mobility. Vertical social mobility refers to a change in the occupational, political, or religious status of a person that causes a change in their societal position. So this is involved in a transition of an individual social class. In this mobility, there is a change in the social status of an individual. Vertical mobility can be ascending or descending. Ascending or descending, which falls to the two kinds of vertical mobility, which are the upward and the downward mobility. So let me discuss to you the two types of vertical mobility. First is the upward mobility. Upward mobility is when a person moves from a lower position in society to a higher one. So if a person attains high education and that person might become rich in the future, so he moves upward in the social hierarchy. Another example is if a person was born in a family of sweeper and after acquiring must learn knowledge and attain high education, he was able to get a good job and go up his social class. But of course, there's always a downside for this. When a person moves up, they often need to leave behind familiar surroundings such as family and places. They may also need to change their way of thinking and behavior because they must fit into the social class that they're in. The individual will need to adapt to the new environment as a result of their upward movement and adopt different behaviors in the new society. But still, it is a good mobility. Next is the downward mobility. Downward mobility takes place when a person moves from a higher position in society to a lower one. So, downward or descending mobility means going down of a person from a higher position. It can occur when someone is caught performing a wrongful act or a crime. So it can result in the loss of the position that they currently hold. Downward mobility can be extremely stressful for people who face a rapid decline in their social status. They may find it hard to adapt to the new environment as it's not similar to the standard of living that they are used to. So for me, I will always choose the upward mobility. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned from my discussion.